drawing one less card each turn, as you only draw up to 4 each draw phase. A lot of Indazu cards work by interacting with magic as their primary resource.
5 characters that really lets our designers kind of come up with new ideas, coupled with whatever our concept artists are kind of creating, and they kind of come together.
Stories, to the characters and folklore in the game, to interviews with people who have had similar experiences to Nuda, to the effect of global warming on their culture and way of life. These are completely optional, but really worth it.
Hello and welcome to Worldwide Gaming. I'm your host Ryan, and we're currently in the process of moving our set, so unfortunately you'll just have to listen to my voice still. Today we have not one, but 2 reviews. Lysander is reviewing the browser-based card game War of Omens, and Liam is reviewing Never Alone. To break them up, we have an interview from E3 I did in the 2K booth for Battleborn. Right now though, we have the forecast.
The world is breaking.
The next chapter in the kickstarted Banner Saga series features turn-based combat and more Nordic mythology than you can shake a horn at. Not much has been revealed about the game yet, with only a short trailer to go off, but we're sure this game will please fans when it's released later this year.
Strangers drawn to a single banner.
And no matter how difficult the decisions,
Or how painful they may be.
Floating in space, the player must fight to stay alive after the destruction of their space station. This first-person experience has players try to overcome the challenges of an unforgiving environment. With Oculus Rift support and great-looking graphics, this game is looking to be one of the most atmospheric of 2015. It is coming to PC and current-gen consoles this year.
Survivor detected.
After an experiment in Russia in the 1960s goes horribly wrong, the entire race is wiped out. The player is now tasked with reclaiming it by creating and defending a town inside the void. The sandbox creation is looking to rival that of Minecraft and is releasing this year for PS4.
Finding good free-to-play games online has always been a struggle, and many would rather avoid them altogether. There is, however, hope for those who've decided to venture into the treacherous realm of in-browser game content. That hope is called War of Omens, and it's an intuitive, fast-paced resource management online deck-building card game that combines successful elements from tabletop games like Dominion and adds a whole new level of flavor and strategic complexity. War of Omens was created by Fifth Column Games and was successfully kickstarted in January 2014. While already fully functional, there is still new content being added over time, which includes the release of an episodic single-player campaign. The game is played between 2 parties, either 2 players or a player and an NPC, each taking on the role of an aristocratic leader or perhaps a tribal lord. The goal is rather simple, almost cliché. Reduce your opponent's life to 0 first. To do this, you will need to utilize various resources, each functionally unique. The simplest resource is gold. When you start a new game, your deck, that is the pool of cards you draw your hand from each turn, is composed of coin cards only. When used, a basic coin card adds 1 gold resource to your pool. With that gold, you can purchase cards from your bank. Your bank is a separate pile of cards to your deck, ones chosen prior to starting the match. You don't own the cards in your bank until you buy them using gold, but once you do, they usually come into play immediately, and once their function has expired, they are added not back to the bank, but into the deck of cards, ready to be drawn and used again at no additional cost. The second resource is food. Food can be fed to your hero to increase their health, or it can be used to heal injured card units. Some units can convert the food you feed them into other resources such as gold. Others will attack the enemy forces when fed. You cannot, however, manually decide the target of such attacks. This brings us to our next resource, skulls. Skulls represent everything from the dirt and secrets you have on your enemies to sheer killing power, and they can be targeted at any enemy to deal a single point of damage each. You can always choose who or what to target when using skulls, however some cards can still play the valiant hero and intercept your attacks. The last, and arguably most versatile resource, magic can be used as a substitute for other resources. It can be used to purchase cards or to feed and heal units, and can even be used to deal damage to your opponents. It may seem overpowered, however many cards require specifically that they be fed food or gold in order to activate their effects. That said, it is definitely a powerful asset to have at any given time. Gaining resources is just the first step towards victory. Once you have them, you need to carefully allocate each one in order to gain the upper hand. Do I buy a very expensive card from the bank now and suffer economically for a few turns afterwards? Or do I buy 2 smaller cards that will accumulate more resources over time? There lies the strategy that makes War of Omens such an enjoyable game to play. Lots of small, quick decisions made over time lends itself to well-paced, efficient gameplay, with individual matches generally over quickly enough that even losing is profitable to some degree. Games played, and games won, accumulate in-game currency that can be spent to purchase booster packs. The packs are reasonably priced, and almost every card can be found within the cheapest, most basic boosters. The rarest cards are only available from gem boosters, however gems can be collected just for logging in on a certain number of days, and the cards contained, while valuable, are no substitute for skill and a well-crafted strategy. Personally, I find their monetary system doesn't impede upon the player's ability to enjoy the game, and I also don't mind spending a few dollars now and again when faced with a reasonable free-to-play model to support the hard work of the developers who continue to put their efforts towards the games I enjoy. One of the key strategical elements of War of Omens comes from the 4 unique factions. There are various player characters that you can build individual decks for from the cards of that particular character's faction. The factions all have names, but they're easiest to recognise by their colours: green, red, blue, and the latest edition, purple. The gimmick of Vespitol, or the green faction, is their card drawing capabilities. While it's usually important to limit how many cards you buy, to avoid flooding your deck making it harder to draw the cards you need, for the green faction this problem is solved by their handy ability to continue drawing cards as they play them. Green cards when played will allow the player to draw an additional card, and this means it is possible for them to cycle through massive amounts of economy in a single turn. By contrast, the red faction Daramek get their advantage through ritual and sacrifice, discarding and destroying weaker cards in order to draw stronger ones and generating more resources as a result. Many of their cards once played become a permanent battleside benefit, and their ruthless tactics allow them to quickly generate an advantage over their opponents. The blue faction is crafty and roguish. The Matrice have many inexpensive ways to steal and utilise their opponent's economy against them, grabbing cards out of their hands and banks, and sabotaging their strategy by matching it with a cunning and aptitude for profiting from the strongest points of their enemy's plan, seducing or ambushing the former allies of their opponent until their foe stands alone, isolated and vulnerable to attack. The purple faction are by far the most unique, and I personally would recommend playing the other factions first before giving them a go, learning perhaps through experience with fighting them. Their cards can be affected by how long they are held in hand before being played. They grow stronger the longer they hold onto them. However, holding onto more than one card means they are drawing 1 less card each turn, as you only draw up to 4 each draw phase. A lot of Indazu cards work by interacting with magic as their primary resource, trading magic to essentially level up the card's capabilities, or downgrading those capabilities in order to produce more magic. All of this may seem a tad confusing, but the in-game tutorial walks you through the core mechanics of the game. If you're looking for an easy way to kill an afternoon without having to invest money or download time, it's probably worth a shot. You can also log in using your Steam username, which can make things even more convenient.